Now that is 10:15 by The Cure, and that was the B-side of the first record they ever released, the A-side being Killing an Arab. Now, if you're a Cure fan, you'll probably know that they were originally called Easy Cure, but do you know why they changed their name? Well, according to Robert Smith, it's because he thought Easy Cure was a bit hippie-ish, a bit American, a bit West Coast, and he thought The Cure was a lot more fab. Robert, hello, is that true?
As far as I can remember, yeah.
Easy Cure, I think Easy Cure sounds quite good.
Well,
why is that American?
It wasn't really the name so much as the fans that we had at the time, I suppose. The name had the connotations of the people that liked the group, and they were a bit West Coast hippie-ish and American. So.
Now this fact is one of many that turns up in a new book called 10 Imaginary Years, which is the new and only real Cure book. You were saying before there has been one book, but this is the real thing.
Yeah, up until 18 months ago, there'd never been a Cure book, and then one appeared, and I read it, and it was just so inaccurate and so tedious that I thought, before someone else jumps in with another one, even more inaccurate, more tedious, that we may as well do one ourselves. But I say ourselves, I ended up having to edit it all.
Why 10 Imaginary Years? Why is that the title?
A word play on 3 imaginary boys.
The whole thing has been done by Steve Sutherland, who's assistant editor of Melody Maker, Barbarian, who started the fanzine in France, and what's that called? Burning Room? Is that the thing she runs?
It's the only typing error in the whole thing, because I didn't proofread that last page. It's Burning Rome, it was called.
Oh, Burning Rome. Now, so you were saying actually to me just a few minutes ago that you have proofread this book 10 times.
Yeah.
How come so much of the workload has ended on your shoulders?
Well, it's the same as with everything that The Cure does. I could delegate it, but I don't really like to, because then I'd only have to blame someone else if it was wrong. So it's just the old adage that, if it's worth doing, right.
You got to do it yourself. Just going through it, there's an awful lot of detail in there. There's lots of cut-ups of band reviews from years ago, right when you started, letters of rejection, the one letter of acceptance, and all that. Who kept all those?
I did. I started off keeping it just because I thought it was funny, particularly like the rejection letters, and then just through the years I just kept things which I thought I might find interesting to look back on. I never really had the idea of a book in mind. I never thought we'd last that long. I just used to throw it all into a box, and when we decided to do the book, I just dug the box out and went through, and I was glad I'd kept it on, like with the Sugar Packet that I sang the words of one of the songs in the first album. Just all rubbish, really. Just
included is the Radio 1 rejection letter.
Yeah,
because presumably you sent a tape and we said, cool, not playing that.
Yeah, there were many more rejection letters than the ones that were printed. We just printed the funniest, the most obvious ones.
And just the one record company who were interested?
Yeah, although there was actually a second record company who were interested subsequently. We got a second letter, but that didn't count because by then we'd already signed up. We got one from United Artists, who had the Stranglers, and they the tape was like mislaid or something. It's one of those sob stories.
Yes.
Once they'd heard Killing an Arab and 10:15 out on record, and we wanted you all along.
What was it like actually being involved in a book about yourself? Was that sort of embarrassing to find out how great you were, or reading what other people said how great you were?
I tried to be as dispassionate as I could, as objective as I could, given the context. There's quite a lot of lying goes on, but it's more in a colourful way rather than a direct untruth.
So there's quite a lot of lying. How can we tell?
Oh, you can't. That's the whole point. But at least they're my lies, they're not someone else's.
Judging by the note that comes right at the back of the book, you didn't enjoy it. In fact, you put it down, some worst experiences. Is that because it just took so long?
Yeah, it's because it was written twice. It was written really once by Barbarian and once by Steve, and I just had to keep reading through. The original book was something like 500 pages long. It was everyone's interviews all just lumped together, and everyone's anecdotes, which were all completely different. It made no sense at all, and I had to go through it several times just to actually weed out the dross, really.
Yeah.
So after a while I got fed up of reading about how we got arrested in Rotterdam. I could sort of see it all coming. It was like drowning.
It was meant to be out last summer. How come the delay has happened?
Again, it was difficult to decide on a finishing date, because then we found we were doing something else, so we were constantly having to update it. It's out of date now, but I suppose that would be with any biographical book, unless we were dead. So we have actually started collecting stuff for the next volume.
Cure 2.
Yeah.
The next few imaginary years. Have you left anything out? Have you been completely honest in this?
We had to leave some things out. In the original draft, there was a lot in which was libelous, and I was advised not to keep it in. So a lot of things that we admitted to, which I subsequently thought maybe we'd be best not to admit to. There's a lot of grey areas in the book, but I think if you read between the lines, you sort of get a taste of what we've been up to.
It's a very presentable book. It's almost, I was going to say sort of coffee table, in as much as there's lots of colour photos, and it's very impressively packaged. Are you happy with the way it's turned out?
Yeah, it's very arty, I think. One of the considerations for getting the right publisher was for them to agree to the format which we wanted, which was to actually, I mean, most pop books are just so rushed, so they just cobbled together.
Well, it's
so we wanted
exploited,
to do,
isn't it?
Yeah, we wanted to do something that we'd be as proud of as a record. So that's why we did it ourselves.
And did it bring back a lot of memories from the early years?
Sort of. It's difficult actually. It's more like dredging up memories. They don't occur. A lot of it's very hazy.
And did you think, gosh, I wish you could go back to those days? Or did you think they are well gone? Thank you.
A mixture of both, really. I mean, there's nothing in the book, when we were going through, there's nothing really that I found that the Cure have done which I've been embarrassed about or that I would change. So I suppose in that way, I've been really lucky to be involved in a group like that. There's nothing that I'm embarrassed about. Having said that, I would like to relive a lot of it, because I mean, as with everyone, I don't like the passing of time. I wish I was that young again. But some of it, I suppose, is best done and forgotten. There's a couple of periods in the book that I wouldn't like to live through again. And I think I'd be able to. The time around making pornography and the time when I was in the Banshees for a while and then left the Banshees, they were personally difficult times. But the rest of it's been quite good fun.
And detailed in the book?
Yes, a lot of the underlying reasons for the changes in mood of the group and my particular changes in mood, I think that are laid out. A lot of the more gory details left out, because it's not really that interesting, I think, to go too much in depth into why people left, why everyone fell apart. It dwells, I suppose, if anything, more on the lighter aspects of the group rather than the darker aspects.
Now, you're very big in Europe, of course. Is this going to be translated over there, or are they going to have to buy it in the English version?
It's been translated into German, French and Italian, I think.
Just wonder how your idiosyncratic style will be translated into an equivalent in German.
In French it's quite easy, because Barbarian is French, and she can translate it pretty well. I mean, so as not to translate it literally. In German I don't really know, but then I having read Goethe translated back into English, I don't really think it matters.
Most impressive. We've got a competition, actually.
I was told to say that by someone.
It's impressed me, that's for certain. Now, the book is called 10 Imaginary Years, published by Zomba and Fiction Books. Costs you $8.95. If you can't afford that, we'll do a competition for you. We've got 3 copies of the book and 3 copies of the Cure in Orange video, which we'll give away. So we'll put them all together. We'll get them signed. That'll be all right, won't it?
Yep.
Get them all signed. So 3 prizes. What we want, I think, is a good anagram of a Cure song title, say from the last album. So it's got to be from the last album. What would be the best track, do you think, to go? What's going to have the most potential on that, Robert?
I can't say. The first one that jumps into my mind is the wrong one.
Oh, good. Okay.
Like Cockatoos, I was going to say, but
well, anything at all. Choose any track from the last album. Try and get a witty and amusing or generally entertaining anagram, and send it to Which Cure, Simon Mayo, Radio 1, London W1A 4WW. Which Cure, Simon Mayo, BBC Radio 1, London W1A 4WW. You do have to state whether you want VHS or Betamax. I was about to say that I wasn't sure that anyone had Betamax anymore, but someone... Who in the band's got it?
Boris has. 2 or 3 years ago, we used to have these endless discussions about what was the best format. You'll see Betamax will take over VHS, but I think he's eating his words now.
Okay, so just a reminder then, on a postcard that would be easier. Specify the track that you have used. Don't let us to try and fathom it out from all the letters. It has to be a song title from the Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me album, and it's Simon Mayo, Radio 1, London W1A 4WW. Robert, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
That's all right.
And this is the 12...